Welcome to part 3 of this Blurb How to Make a Trade Book or a Challenge Bee Short Stories book series using their editing software BookWright. Today, we are going to continue working on layout of the interior pages, but we're going to be focused more on troubleshooting. So stick with me as we walk through adjusting our layout and adjusting the format to make it work for every student's stories and pictures. And if we haven't met before, hi, my name's Erica Lynn, and I'm a homeschooling mom of 4, and I want to be your homeschooling bestie. It is my goal to make homeschooling easy for everyday moms and dads. So follow along with me here, and if you have not installed BookWright, you want to check out part 1 of this series so you can get it installed and set. And if you have not already created your layout, you want to follow part 2 of this series where we design our interior layout pages. Now I just showed you how I put together one student story. I'm going to go through it again one more time for you. We're going to scroll down to the next page. This is going to be my new title page, and I'm going to delete everything off this left page because I always start my title page on the right. And so I'm going to start with the picture. Who is next? Let's see. If I hold these up, I can see the student's name. This is Brady's cover photo. This is Easton's. I kind of like to go girl, boy, girl, boy. So I might skip over here. I'm going to do this one. Let's do this. Let's click on this arrow. Let's fix the size. Oh man, see, her picture is really small. That's going to be a problem. I can stretch it, but it might end up looking blurry. I want to delete this box, and what I actually want to do is to move this up here, and then I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to ask it to fit to frame. There we go. And then I would add the student's name down here. I do have to change the size and font. This is going to be 40. Okay. And I'm going to center horizontal and center vertical and then close out of this. I am going to have to email the parents to find out now. And this is a common problem. Do you want to increase the size of this photo? Is that possible? Or do you want to risk printing it as is? I have printed a lot of photos as is, and it usually works out just fine. It's not going to be the crispest, sharpest lines, but it's going to be good enough for the purposes of our short stories book. It still looks nice. So I will touch base with her parents on that. Then I'm going to go to the next page and I'm going to apply a new layout. We want the author layout on both of those. All right. And I'm going to try to start with her photo. I don't see a photo here. Nope. I'm going to have to pull her photo from the yearbook. So I'm going to leave that photo empty as well. Then I'm going to go over to text files and find Evelyn. Here is her author bio. Now I'm going to click on this because I want to change the formatting. This is going to be Laura, size 12, 1 line, and update text flow. Okay, I need to add her title. This is going to be Quicksand, size 40, and this is called Help. And I'm going to center, and that is all. And then down here is where we're going to start her story. So here is Evelyn's story, and I'm going to start by dragging it to the first box. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on this because I can see right here that she has a title. Oh, she has chapters. Okay, I'm going to leave the chapters in there. Some students enjoy putting chapters in their short stories. I'm going to change the font, size 12, 2 lines. Update text flow. All right, so I'm going to select text flow. Nope, it didn't select. There we go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and look at this real quick and make sure we still have the correct sizes on everything, and we do. So now I just need to come through here and apply the layouts. And so I'm going to drag this to both pages, and I'm going to do this for about 15 pages or so. I do limit my students on the length of their short story. I picked 10 pages typed in a Word document, double-spaced, as the limit for their story. And that's kind of an arbitrary length, but the point of a short story is to be forced to keep it short. And so they do have to have a length of some sort in order to exercise the muscle of restricting what they're going to write. These pages are a little bit smaller than what prints on a Word doc. So it's always a little bit longer. So it's about 15 pages or so in the book. We're going to just go through the same process of going page to page, updating text flow, each one as we go through here until we have completed the entire story. And I just keep using the left side over here to navigate. I actually find this to be kind of fun and satisfying in a way to watch the story spill over from page to page. The end. Okay. And I'm going to click off here. You'll notice there's no orange triangle here, and that'll disappear on the left side here in just a moment. Now, I did notice as I was going through here, she had one chapter that started at the end. This chapter starts right at the end of the page. I feel like that's a little improper. This is chapter 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the document and I'm just going to enter chapter 2 and update text flow to move that to the next page. And you can see it moved over here. Let me go to the end of the story. Okay, everything looks good here. What I sometimes have to do is include photos in the student's stories. I do believe this student had a photo in her story, but it was maybe embedded in. So I want to go back and check on that. I want to click on this original document of the story and just scroll. Yes. She had pictures. So I need to email and ask for those right now. Okay. I cannot use them in the Word document. I need you to email me the pictures separately. Even though I've told the students and I've told their parents these things, I just think that's hard for them to understand what that actually looks like. So I have to ask for this over and over, and it's no big deal. We just ask for it every year. I want to show you what it looks like when I add pictures in. And I actually have pictures for this first story. Here we go. Photos for short story. And I told him to tell me where to put them. Page 2 after line 4. Okay. I'm going to have to do a little bit of reconnaissance work here because I'm going to have to read what the line is. So I'm going to go to my Google Docs where I saved it. Now I need to compare. The first picture said page 2, line 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we want it right after the gray shingles. Let me go back and go to the email with the pictures. Okay, so there's a picture of the house that goes after the gray shingles. So we're going to go back to BookWright. Now, I wanted to add these in later so you can see how to adjust things if you need to move it once you've already put all these stories in. So we've filled down to page 35, but it's so easy to adjust things if you need to come back and do that. So we're going to go in here. Remembering 2 pages on a Word document is going to be more like 3 or 4 pages. So I'm on page 3. I can see it right there, the gray shingles. What I actually have to do is I am going to take this box and I am going to shrink it up to where it says gray shingles. Okay. And I didn't quite go far enough because now I can see it moved that line over here to the next page. So I'm going to pull this box down just a little bit lower. There we go. I'm going to place a photo box in here by clicking on place photo. I'm going to try to get this to line up on the left side. So the lines and the photos, there we go, are on the same spot. Okay, I am going to go to my photos now and drag this picture of the gray house right there. Perfect. Okay. I have to do 2 more things now. I just need to add place text, and I'm going to start a new text box, which is going to run to the side. So I want to line up that blue line on the right side. There we go. And I want to come to the bottom of the photo. I'm going to add 1 more text box before I change the flow. So I'm going to add another text box down below. I will try to line up the right edge again. And I also want to line up the bottom because those are the 2 that I can control. This is so hard to move this at the correct length. Whew, it is not easily move. I actually want to zoom in just a little bit or a lot of it because this will help me. So this is all the way down here. I want to click on this box. Still trying to get the size of the box to match the page next to it. There we go. Now we're matching on the bottom. I want to match on this right edge. That is why I was so careful to match the one above it. So touchy. There it is. I need a blue line here. Looks like I'm going in. There we go. Now I need a blue line here. Looks like I'm going out. There it is. Okay, all three sides match so that the outer frame of both pages is going to have text running to the same distance from the edge of the book and the interior of the book. Now, I just have to update my text flow. So I've got to press this text flow button, which is actually behind the other sections. Sometimes that can be tricky. Move it onto that box, and then text flow here, move it onto this box. Okay? See what we've done there? Excellent. So now we need to go back and find out where to place the next picture, and we're going to do the exact same adjustments for that. Page 4, second paragraph after the best sport created. Okay. 2, 3, 4, the best sport created. Is this in the middle of a paragraph? I don't see it. Oh, there we go. I'm actually going to have to separate that into 2 separate paragraphs because there's no way I can get a page break that smooth. So we're going to go on and find that. Okay, I think it's got to be over here. Best sport created. I'm double clicking here. I have to open this text box, the best sport created, because what I actually have to do is I'm going to enter down to start a new paragraph. All right, update that text flow. And then close out of this. Now I'm going to go through the exact same process that we just did. And I am going to shorten this box to the best sport created. There we go. Now I'm going to place a photo in here. And let me show you another way that I do photos. I'm going to try to get the blue line on both sides so that they go to the same spacing, the same distance from the edge of the papers. Another way I do photos is I do it all the way side to side, and I like doing that because then I have to get less text boxes to interrupt the flow. All right, this is the picture of the baseball field. So I'm going to drag this picture down here. This says low, so let's tell it to fix. There we go. That's the size it'll fix to. I'm just going to leave it centered right there because it is so much easier for me just to add one more text box below it. So I'm going to start the text right here. I've got that right edge. Okay, I'm going to draw this up until we can get a match right there. And I'm going to adjust this until we can get a match on the left. Perfect. Okay, all 3 sides are blue. And I do need to get this text flow to come in here, and then this text flow is going to go there. I'm noticing some spacing issues here. I'm going to have to go back and edit out his spacing. For some reason, this is not working correctly on his document. We've already done this once for this student, but sometimes I have to go in and tinker with it a little bit more to get it to work. I'm going to go back up to the top page and click on the very first text box, and I'm going to drag this over here. I need to go ahead and fix this formatting issue right now because it's going to change where the pictures need to go in the story. So when I have continual issues, and you can see as I'm highlighting all this up there where the size and the lines are, it's jumping around. So for some reason, when he typed his paper, he didn't get the formatting correct. Probably he just tabbed or entered to get things to look correct, but the technical formatting of the page wasn't done all in double spacing. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to start by clearing the formatting, and we're just going to start all over. And then I can already see as I'm looking through here, right here, there's an extra space here. So that should not be that way. Somehow it's gotten messed up. That's supposed to be part of the same paragraph. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that. There's an extra space here and here. And so I'm just literally going to go through this one row at a time and backspace. But also these paragraphs need to be tabbed. And so this is kind of a tedious process, but this is unfortunately what has to be done. And this is a new paragraph, and this is a new paragraph. So I'm just tabbing and backspacing the extra spaces between paragraphs. Sometimes Google does that automatically. And if you don't know to change the formatting, then you'll just fight with it your whole paper through. And I don't know why they automate their spaces like that, but it is a common mistake that I see. And I've talked to my classes before, and they have confirmed that is the way Google has it set up when they go in there and begin typing. So I'm just going to tab over. Every new paragraph needs to be tabbed, even if it's only one line of dialogue. And so I'm just going to continue that through. And a lot of students think that looks weird, but it is the proper formatting spacing. Okay, something's happening here. You can see this is in the middle of a paragraph where it's gone. It's in the middle of a sentence, but it's formatting wise started a new paragraph. I don't know what's going on with that. And this is clearly probably because it's happened so many times regularly, it's probably at some sort of page break. And so maybe the student didn't know that if you keep typing, it'll just go down. Your words will just go to the next page. So maybe they pressed enter a couple times to get their cursor to move down to the next page. It's another common mistake that I see. I don't know exactly what the students are doing that creates that awkward mid-sentence page break, but it is one that I fix a lot. So I know that there's probably a logical reason for it because several students are making the same mistakes. This is what I call just the tedious process of putting this together because I have to make sure all the formatting is correct. And while we're talking about formatting, I do not do any actual grammatical or spelling editing on these students' papers because I have enough on my plate just getting the formatting to look correct. So I tell the parents at the beginning of the year, at our second semester parent meeting, and also in the emails as we are working on short stories, that they are 100% in charge of grammatical errors. See all these red underlines? I'm not going to check those. I'm not going to worry about those. I am trusting that the way they turned it into me is the way they want it printed. And it's good that they are in charge of that because some words are probably misspelled on purpose to create dialogue and to create accents or different type of speech impediments. And so if I go in there and try to make everything grammatically correct, I might actually be ruining the voice of the story. So it is a good system, and I just have the parents do all the editing. Okay, now I have got this so that there are no random spaces between these rows. And you can see this time as I'm highlighting it all, up at the upper right-hand corner, my line number is not jumping around like crazy. So now I'm going to change it all to Laura, size 12, and we're going to do 2.0, left adjust, top adjust, everything else looks good. Update text flow. That is going to make sure all of my lines are in here correctly. Oh my goodness, look how much more beautiful it looks. So just so you know, I have already had to do that process to probably 4 students' stories. Okay, I want to go down and make sure these pictures are still at the correct spot. Okay, so I need to go back to the document and double check. This one goes page 2 after line 4. We're talking about the house right here. I think we're fine. Okay, I'm going to go down to the baseball field. This is supposed to go after the line that says the best sport created. All right, I don't see the best sport created. To be honest, I bet it got moved up. So I'm going to go one page above. Oh, there it is. Best sport created. So I actually am going to have to move this picture, which is exactly why I adjusted the text flow right then. Okay, so I've moved that box up and I am going to bring this down and I'm going to adjust it on the left. To be honest, I'm just going to center it because I don't want to do a text box to the right side. There we go. And then I'm just going to move this fit to frame. That's what it does. It moves it straight to the center. Okay, that looks great. I actually think I'm going to move this up a little bit higher. There we go. Kind of like that zoomed in a little bit. Let me move it up. That way we're missing out on a little bit of sky, but I kind of like that zoomed in effect. Now I need to add another text box down below this, and I will line it up on the right side. There we go. And then I'll have to drag this out on the left side, and I need to line the bottom with the page to the left. Uh-oh. Okay, I've got 2 things going on. I've got this triangle which says the picture's too big for the resolution. So I want it to fix and submit that. Okay, I've got other pictures saying that. I'm going to ignore the other ones though and just go back to this. All right, so it shrunk the picture down. I can't get to this text flow. There we go. Thankfully it didn't move the picture, so I'm just going to leave it where it is. and I'll continue the text there, and then I'll press text flow and come over here. Okay. They're already linked. Now this picture I need to delete. And actually what I'm going to do is just change the layout on this page. So I'm going to go to my layouts and I'm going to put this down here. I've got 2 boxes there. You don't have a delete button. There we go. Delete button right there. Okay. And then this one's all out of shape. I don't know. Let's see if we can get it back where it belongs. It's aligned at the top. But the question, is it correct left to right? And I don't know if it is. So honestly, I just want to delete this. No, I cannot press delete. Oh, well, that's right. Press up here. Remove the text. Delete container. Okay. Now I'm going to drag this back down. And then I'm going to go to the page above it and update the text flow to include this one. All right, and then it moves automatically over there. So it's just inserted into the text flow. Now I need to figure out where this third picture goes, and it goes after him and Ezra. All right, so this is supposed to be 2 pages later. So I'm going to jump down here and I'm going to look for the words him and Ezra. Him and Ezra right there. I see it. Okay, so I need to shrink this box and then I'm going to go to photos and add this baseball photo. They're making it huge. I do not want it that big, but I'm just going to drop it there. And I'm going to shrink this down. Oops, that's pretty large. Let me see. This is fitting the same width. Every time I touch that, it zooms. Okay, I think I might move this down a smidge more until it matches up on the bottom, and then I don't have to add another text box underneath it. Actually, I'm going to move it up a little bit so it more lines up with the actual text. I think that looks good. Okay, so those text boxes are all up to date. What I need to do now is to go to the end of the story and make sure we still have enough text. And I don't have an orange triangle here saying that it's out of space, so we do have enough. What I've done here is you can see I've got 2 extra pages. So what I can actually do is just click on these pages and press trash and trash again. And it just moves everything else up over here. So it's easy to get rid of. If it was on the flip side and I needed more space, I would just click this plus button and then I would say add pages. After page 19, I would click add pages and then it would put those right in there at the end where I needed to add them. So it's very easy to adjust things as you change. Now, this student, we were working on putting some pictures in. I saved this to just show you. I've got his author picture here, so I'm just going to plug it in. Notice it cuts off the head. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. See this hand that appears here? I'm just going to drag it down until the top hits the top of this box. And that is what I've done for all of the students. So all of their pictures have the same formatting in there. All right. I think I have everything in here. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm literally going to click through page to page and make sure that everything looks right and everything is in its place, like nothing is missing. So I'm going to zoom out because I want to be able to see the whole page at a time. And I wish there's an easy way to do this, but I'm really just going to click through one at a time and make sure I don't see anything weird that catches my attention or anything missing. Okay, you notice here this has a triangle. This picture, the resolution isn't big enough for as large as I've placed it, but I only made it a little bit bigger than it wanted it to be, so I think it's going to be fine. I have printed books several times now, increasing the picture just a little bit past what the book says it can do, and it's still good enough that the students don't notice. So I am going to go ahead and do that, although I will print a proof copy of this book just for me first so I can look at it in person and make sure everything's correct before I print all 12 copies for the students. Okay. We've got everything in here. Another picture there with the triangle, but I can't make it any smaller. So we're just going to go with it and hope for the best. This is a little bit awkward with chapter 3 at the bottom. How does she do her other chapters? Yeah, her spacing is correct. Honestly, I'm just going to come in here and I'm just going to tab it one time because it is going to look awkward. It's going to look better just to be over there. Okay, so we've adjusted that. Those are the types of things I'm looking for. All the rest of these pages look good. We've got another picture. Okay, and she finishes over here on the left page, and I always start a new story on the right page. So this left page can either be the tail end or it can be blank, just like you would get in a regular chapter book oftentimes. Okay, next story. We've got all of his information here. He's got a couple little spacing things, but he did that on purpose. I can see his little star or asterisk there. Okay, looks good. Next story and cover photo. We've got all of theirs. She's got this spacing again, drats, between her paragraphs. I'm going to go in here and change this, and I'm just going to scroll through and backspace anytime I see these extra spaces between paragraphs. Okay, update. That is going to shorten her story, so we'll have to see how it looks. Okay, that actually created an extra page over here. So I'm going to delete these extra pages by clicking the trash can, and that'll start the next story on the right page. Excellent. This one looks good. We've got our information and this story. Okay, done. Oh, right. I did get the name of her story. I need to add this in. I think it was, okay, and I'm going to center horizontally and center vertically. This needs to be one line. All right, good. I am waiting on a cover image. Okay, and I have texted the parent about that, so I'm waiting for it to come. So I will continue to check everyone else's. That photo says the resolution is not high enough, but it's just a little bit too big. It's going to be fine. Okay, next story. Oh, right. She still needs to shorten her author bio. Okay, so that's two things I'm waiting on. She's got this one line here, one paragraph with extra spacing. Oh, that's right. She did extra spacing on purpose. She puts a little tilde in there and she's dividing the story into sections. I'm going to leave it the way she did it. All right. The rest of that looks good. Next story. This looks good. Good. Next story. This spacing looks correct. Okay. Next story. This spacing looks correct. This was one I already had to fix, I believe. Okay, next story. Again, same thing with the picture. I just made it a little bit bigger than what they said it could because I thought the spacing looked better. And we are done. Okay, so I do need to delete these extra pages at the end of the story. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. If you would put a heart in the comments below, that just means the world to me if you made it here. What I want to do now is just let you know part 4 is coming soon. As soon as I have it done, it'll be posted right here. And this is going to be focusing on the exterior cover of the book. And I'm going to be creating a cover in Canva so you can see what that looks like and how to put it together and what dimensions to use, and then how to apply that to BookWright, as well as I'm going to do the title page and a couple of other little intro pages. And so you can decide what you want your intro pages for your book to look like as well.